on schedule. Apologize for this. Let me know where you're joining me from. Today we are discussing something very important, and the reason why we're having this conversation today is to talk extensively on some of the important things. So please just give me some minutes. Let me share these broadcasts also with other people that may be willing, that have been waiting. A lot of people have been waiting for today's broadcast, so I am not going to um, delay. Apologies for starting way too late. Um, please, so please let me know where you're joining us from. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Anywhere you're in Lagos, um, whether you're also in diaspora, welcome as well. Today we're going to be talking about real estate investment destinations that you should avoid in Lagos. And of course, I obviously cannot exhaust everything that we'll be discussing today. I obviously cannot. So subsequently, perhaps tomorrow or next week, we are going to be um, looking at other destinations. Um, Turn on the lights, that light there. All right. So we're going to be talking about. So it's going to become. It's going to become one of the best um, station. I hope you all are doing well today. Good afternoon. So let's talk about risk. A lot of people have been talking about, yes, a lot of people have been talking about real estate investment, and there is no emphasis on investment risk. A lot of people don't understand important, real estate investment strategy. So we're going to talk about change this two lights to yellow. The instruction is simple. I don't want white. Sorry, just my. Uh, uh, do, no, take it back to where it was before. It's better. All right, so let's just talk about it now. A lot of people have been reaching out to me personally. It's okay. A lot of people have been reaching out to me personally, and I've gotten a lot of inquiries. The purpose of today's video is not to leave any stones unturned, and to be as realistic as possible, regardless of what anybody think or says. First of all, I have come to the total realization that people are very bad, and some people, not all, will say things that may get you into trouble simply because of their own personal interest, and because of the present experiences I've had, and I'm going to be having a lot. So apologies. So I'll be going live also. If you are not done, whenever I'm working, leave phone. Sorry about that. So we are going to be looking at that. You are setting up for Facebook as well. So we're going to be looking at that. I want to say thank you for everybody that is joining us, and we're going to talk about this. Now, there are three important destinations I'll be listing today, because I obviously cannot exhaust everything that we have to discuss today, and I will try as much as I can to be as plain as possible. So before I go further, please share this video. um Give us a thumb like if you are yet to subscribe to this channel. Trust me, this is the best place you should. And I just want to quickly share this. Apologies with my online audience. A lot of people have been working for this, and we're going to be doing a lot. So please do well to share this video. Tell people to join. And for those who have not been joining, I would also make deliberate efforts, okay, to make this go viral. All right. So plug this one here. All right. So what are now when we talk about real estate investing? Sorry, a lot of people have this perception. Sorry, please. A lot of people have this perception that location is very key, and I must submit to the fact that yes, location is very important when it comes to real estate investments. And I would not but submit the fact that despite the fact that location is very, very important, location also is can become a problem if not properly navigated. And one of the reasons why I'm going to be doing this, okay, I'm live on Facebook as well. Thank you. So a lot of people have been asking questions, so I'll be trying as much as I can. You're not. A lot of people have been asking a lot of questions about some of these things, and sorry, I'm kind of having issues with my network. Okay, I think everything is settled now. Sorry if I've not gone to the point. I think this is 5 minutes gone now. Of course, many of us are familiar with the way the Nigerian network works. Now, when property is being marketed to you, you can go. A lot of people give, motivation. They give a lot of, inspiration, and I would also admit to the fact that it is very good, okay, to pay attention to important things that can grow your real estate investment. And something actually happened recently, and the news has been going online. I think it happened yesterday. There was a video that His Excellency, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, that's in the person of Mr. Peter Obi, made concerning his brother's company that was demolished. And ever since that incident happened yesterday, I don't know where it happened, but it was on the news yesterday, and I was very, very much interested because sometimes I'm very, very familiar with the laws, regulations, and policies that guides investment, and more importantly, if there's a need, okay, for a property to be demolished, no playing of game. So these are some of the things that they are very, very important. Apologies, this is my studio manager. They are not paying attention to details. It's definitely not you. It's my. So I got interested in the news because the whole thing went viral, and I got a lot of messages, and the message I got was from a diasporan. Someone I've been talking to about investing in a particular property that I'm so much convinced that it will be of immense benefit. He was the first person. It was this diasporan investor friend of mine that actually saw the message. So when I got the message yesterday, I went online and I saw the place and I began to make, inquiries. So yet I've not been able to unravel the exact location, but I began to, look at the Lagos State website. I went to the website of LAPSCA, that's the Lagos State Building Management Control. I went to the also the social media handle of the Lagos State Ministry of Environment, and I was just following every Lagos State social media channel, and I started talking to some of my people in Alausa. Was like, who must have ordered demolitions without due procedures, because I'm aware that some of the places that were demolished, okay, by government, adequate notices was sent, and in fact there are times whereby the government did not even embark on that demolition. Like, for instance, it might give maybe a year notice or 6 month notice, and you find out that even after that notice has expired, you don't get to see government officials embarking on that demolition as it has been stipulated in that notice. And I found out basically that one of the things, so I got so much interested in the situation, and I've been doing a lot of digging. So I spoke with one of my friends there, and he said um, the Lagos State Building Management Control did not sign any approval for demolition as at the time. That, am I sure of what must have been happening? So I said, fine, I'm going to look into it. So as I'm still digging into it, and if there's anything, but the news basically was that Mr. Gbenga Omotosho, the Lagos State Commissioner of Information, came out to say that Lagos State government did not have anything to do with the demolition of His Excellency Peter Obi's brother's company. So there was a notice to that, but you can be rest assured that we are still going to investigate, further and find out what must have happened, and that obviously will get them across to you. But that particular incident has actually called my attention to something very, very disturbing. And my job basically is to come here and inform people. Now, when I talk about informing people, this is more or less like how if you tag it as a note of warning, I think you are correct. If you also tag it as an advice, you are correct. And of course, if you also tag it as a professional real estate suggestion or recommendations or professional counseling, you are also correct. Now, when we talk about important real estate destinations, we have different real estate destinations, but you need to understand basically that there are some areas that are regarded as high risk investment destinations. Now, the reason why I decided to use um, that particular phrase, high risk, or yes, that particular phrase, high risk, is due to the fact that if you choose to have properties there, you will make money. Yes, you will. And of course, and the reason why you make money basically is that that place obviously is the center of investment destination. A lot of people will be interested in such property because of its proximity to important landmarks and some other things. So what are the high risk real estate investment destinations that real estate investors should avoid? Now, the first high risk real estate investment destination you should avoid is properties with litigations. You should avoid properties with any property that has litigations, okay, is more or less like a time bomb, okay, that is waiting for the right time to explode. Now, I'm going to quickly expatiate further on this so you can ask. Now, the funny thing basically is that it is not always, obvious, and it becomes extremely difficult for you to unravel a property that is currently facing, litigations, except your lawyer is involved in the process of acquisition. And these things basically are some of the things that a lot of real estate investors fall in. So any investment that is faced, with litigation is a high risk, and because of the fact that it's an high risk, anything can happen. So the first one is avoid it. Now, the reason why I'm saying this basically is that I was at Ikorodu yesterday to check one or two properties for some investors, and as I was coming back, my eye actually stumbled on some estates. Yes, some estates in Ekpe. And the unfortunate thing basically is that some of these estates have been sold out. That means a lot of investors have bought into these properties, and most of them have this mindset that I have a property. And it was sad, very, very sad, that larger percent of these properties are undergoing litigations. In fact, most of them are boldly, if not for the fact that there's a signpost, okay, conveying the name of the company, that is selling the estate. I would have done a video showing you, the litigation on the wall, but because of the fact that we don't want unnecessary legal tussles, of course, I know the developer that owns that property, and of course, the developer's signpost indicating his ownership is right in front of that property, and that was why I could not make a video. Even if I make a video, I'll definitely not share it because I may be, charged with defamation. So I will definitely not do that. But 50% of all the estates that were sold in the K2 Epe axis are currently under litigations. Now, the most unanswered question basically is that is the developer not aware that there was litigation on that property? That's the first question you should ask. The second question you should also ask basically is that when has this litigation case been involved, and how long will it take for that litigation case? Anything that has to do with court related cases, in Nigeria, I always, recommend to real estate investors that stay away from it. There's one basically that I know of, that they've been going to court since 2014, and till date they are still going to court. And this particular real estate investor reached out to me, and he was concerned that I heard my property is under court case, blah blah blah, and the recommendation was like 2014 till now is a long case, is a long time. So I will advise, if you can, get an alternative real estate investment from the developer that suits you, to be a fantastic idea. So high risk investments, number one is buying properties with litigation. And a lot of people are asking now, how am I going to know if a particular property is undergoing litigations? There are a lot of ways to find out. There are a lot of ways to find out. See, I have always said this, basically, that don't listen to your realtor, some realtors. Let me use your realtor. Don't listen to some realtors all the time. And the reason why I'm saying this basically is that I have actually been involved. There was this estate, that sold, I think around last year. If I should mention the exact time, I think the name would definitely ring a bell. And one of the things, so the estate was trending. So there was this, and one of the things basically I usually explain to real estate investors basically is that before you start dropping your hard-earned money into any form of real estate investment, hire somebody to do what, to investigate and let them know. Because you see, some of your real estate investors, or your realtors, or your consultants, majority of them are too busy to have the accurate time to do a proper due diligence. I'm going to say it again. Majority of them are too busy for them to start saying, I want to check the survey, I want to check the deed, I want to do this, I want to do environmental due diligence, I want to do economic due diligence, I want to do security due diligence. They are very, very busy. So sometimes they don't have time to check. And that's why sometimes, basically, I've always said this before, it's not about the reputation alone. Reputation is very key, but sometimes a lot of people a property today can have issues. And one of the ways that you can avoid this basically is to get us involved. See, when I say get us involved in your purchase, a lot of people don't understand what I meant by that. Probably they're saying, you want us to. It's not about that. If I should start giving list of real estate investors, majority of them might be probably watching me right now, that I have saved from buying bad properties in Lagos. This is not like praising myself, but basically, if you have done well, you can come online and tell yourself you've done well. Right from 2022, 2021 till date, I have saved a lot of people from buying bad properties. In fact, there was the one that was very profound, that I found joy in doing, basically, was a property along that Olomowewe axis of Ibejuleki. For some of real estate investors, Olomowewe is immediately after that Dangote refinery. And there was this particular investor of mine, he might be probably watching this video, and he wanted to buy a property, a realtor showed to him. And initially, I did not want to do that due diligence because I was very, very busy, very, very busy. But he pleaded, and when we got to that site, the first thing is we decided to take a physical inspection to go and see what they've been advertised. And the first thing we saw on that site was a clear indicator. Because my intention basically was, let me just go there and just see the property and just tell the man I've been there, I know the place, blah, blah, blah. On that day, we drove there. We went there at about 3:30 p.m. in the afternoon. And when we got there, we found out there were military men, there were naval officers on site. And one of them spoke to us and said, if not that place or not they go, Mukuna no butter, we don't collect this place. And we got so much interested in that location, and we started digging, and we found out that there had been a land tussle in that particular location since 2018. There's been a land tussle. There was this, from what we gathered from our due diligence, we found out that there were multiple deed of assignment on that property. That means this person has sold to this one, this one, etc. So we found out that, according to our findings, we found out that some families sold to some real estate investors many years ago. Okay, and the investors, according to our findings, they based abroad, and I think those real estate investors did not come to check their property for a very long time. So what happened basically that the family that sold to those investors sold to another real estate company. I'm explaining why you have to avoid some investment destinations, high risk investment. So the real estate investors they sold to now later sold to some retired military general. So because when we got there, when we got to site, we found out that there were a lot of case tussles, and people were not allowed in and out on that site. This was in Ibejuleki, and this was even before the construction of the coastal road. This was around 2002, 2000, yes, 2000, 2022, I said 2022. So we could not go in. So we found out that most of those things were there. So the military officer that bought was having issues with the diasporan that bought and probably did not check back. And when that crisis deepened, the Lagos state government was forced to revoke the C of O title because there was a C of O on that property. And one of the reasons why government may be forced, okay, to revoke a land title is when we have endless land tussles, where we have multiple parties, okay, laying claim to one single property. And by the time I began to explain to this man, fortunately for him, I think he only made a deposit of 5 million because I think he was buying multiple plots there because of the fact that it was closer to the refinery. It's a so after we gave him our own findings, this is what is happening. Do you know that it is possible for some people to, because most of the real estate companies in those axes, they only run inspections in the morning. So there might be possibility that some people might have come there in the morning and there was no crisis at that time, and they must have made recommendation of that same property to real estate investors, and people might have bought. So we went there, and that's why sometimes when you buy a property, it is very important you pay your price visit. There are some properties I have here in the Ibejuleki that I may just say, okay, I want to take a walk. I won't drive, just walk down there just to see. So today, the man is a very, he has been recommending us to people abroad, like, I know these guys are doing a fantastic job. They saved me from buying the bad property. So government was forced, to revoke the entire CFO in that axis. Now, the shocking of all basically was that last month I still drove past those axes and I saw real estate company mounting that signboard and they are still selling that locations. And I don't want to believe that those companies are not aware that there's a legal tussles. So location number one, you don't want to buy a property that we have multiple parties worrying over that same properties and the case is in court. Because you see, the moment you buy into it, now the saddest part of all basically is that, after this particular client of ours paid the developer, he actually paid because the realtor was pressurizing him, okay, make deposit, do deposit, blah, 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 blah. So the man made a deposit and he was like, he said, this thing has now become your work. How do I get back my money? I just told him, I said, sir, the reality now is that you can't get all your money. One thing I do basically is I'm always honest with real estate. I just say, see, that money, this they've paid the money, they've paid this. I just say, if you can try and they give you 2 million or they give you 3 million out of your 5 million, just know the developer have tried. Unfortunately for him, he was able to get back 3.5. Till now, the 1.5 is still hanging with the developer. So you want to avoid locations. Properties that are under litigations are my number one high-risk real estate investment destination that you should avoid. So I would say this, and I will say it over and over again. So if you have, as I'm having this live session, I don't want to talk very fast because I want my point to be properly articulated. And in the course of this conversation that I'm having with you, because this is supposed to be like a training, but I've decided to have it like a plain conversation so that you can understand how things happen in Nigeria. So you understand. So litigation. So
How do you find out? Get us involved. Let us be involved in everything. And of course, if you are getting us involved, we are going to pay lawyer, we are going to pay surveyors. So the service is not free, because a lot of people have this perception that definitely I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not the one that will verify the deed. And of course, my surveyor will definitely pay some people in Alausa to do the due diligence, to do, you pay. These services are not free. So please, let me quickly state that the service is 100% not free, please. But if you really want us to handle the entire, and we are going to be handling the process of purchase, we are not going to charge you them. But if you just want us to check and you go back to where server must have recommended it to you, you pay for it. That's number one. So the second high risk real estate investment destination you want to avoid in Lagos is untitled properties. Untitled properties. Now, untitled properties. Now, I've seen. How do I explain this now? Now, when we talk about untitled properties, I did a video. I think yes, my last video, I was talking about the truth about registered surveys, and I gave clear instances of how a lot of real estate investors have been duped with that phrase, registered survey. And I am going to be very, very, very sincere with you. Now, I've been in this real estate consultancy now since 2000, and I became active since 2020. I became very, very active. And in that period of 20, see, if I should come and tell you this is what is going on, a lot of people don't seem to understand that, you see, this our property business is a interest driven business. I would say the real estate industry is 100% interest driven, meaning that people that tends to become a major beneficiary may see the truth and they may not tell you. So I have to explain this so that you can have an accurate understanding of how the industry is played. There was a particular time in the history of real estate whereby untitled properties were the gold of. In fact, you will see them on your social media. And if you are investing in untitled properties, let me be more specific. Handkerchief. Let me be more specific. More importantly, in Lagos, it is an high risk investment, and you should do everything humanly possible to avoid it. Now, untitled properties basically are properties without excision. They are properties without gazette. They are properties without government allocation. They are properties without C of O's, and they are properties without governor's consent. Please pay attention and follow me closely, because you see, I am going to say things the way they are. And the reason why I'm going to be having this conversation basically is due to the fact that a lot of people are in unpleasant situations today simply because they didn't listen to us. And you definitely can call for consultation, inquiries. We can only recommend, we can't enforce. So there was this particular man, he called, I think he's in Dublin. Yes, he's in Dublin. And he called and he said he's presently working on, I think, 10 acres around the K2 axis. There was a particular time where, I think late last year, early 2023-24, of course, many of you that are familiar with Ekpe will agree with me that Ekpe was the hottest real estate investment destinations. And this man bought 10 acres. Now, before he bought and consulted, he called and he made some inquiries. And my recommendation basically was that I explained everything you need to know about title documentation. And I said that if you must buy, don't buy areas that are under agric acquisition or that are under forestry. I said you can buy a freehold. And I said that after purchase, because I was buying from a real estate company, I said after purchase, endeavor to do your own general survey. Because you see, if you're buying No, he didn't buy from a real estate. He bought from, there was an agent that was in, of course, I can remember. So I told him that once you have collected all your documents, you have collected your deed, your survey, I said, sir, the first thing you should do, whether it, I told him, I said, the first thing you should do is ensure you lodged your survey. Do a register survey and lodged it immediately. I said, the moment you have done that, you have already notified Lagos State government that you have taken possession of that place and you are ready to do your proper documentation. Now, after I spoke with the man, the agent called him back and told him that, is it not that man? He's always talking. What does he even know, Gonself? How long has he been in the business? You know, see, the thing I've come to realize in this industry is that some agents can be very, very terrible. And because of the fact that I know the industry very well, and whether I like it or not probably equal colleagues, but I still see them as contemporaries in this industry. And they told the man, so he said it in Yoruba, I'm going to interpret in English. He said, so what the agent was trying to say in essence, that once you have collected your survey and deed, he said you should just sit down and watch as his property appreciates. And I said, sir, that is a bad idea, but the man didn't listen. I think that happened around 2023. Now, when the entire notification came from Lagos State government that Ekpe will be divided into scheme, and when Lagos State government introduced the Ekpe Mixed Development Scheme, he contacted me, and by the time I was able to get my surveyor, it was already too late. Now, it's not about the property he bought. See, an untitled property will become harmful if you leave it idle for a very long time. I know very well that the Lekki Phase 1 or the converted locations that we have in different parts of Lagos used to be untitled. I'm not disputing the fact that has been the case. There are different places whereby people bought as bush. But let me also reiterate the fact that after they bought, they didn't leave it the same way they bought it. So if somebody is saying Lekki Phase 1 was bush, it was Morocco, Banana was this and that, let me also quickly reiterate the fact that if you must buy, you must be ready to play by government rules. Else, you have placed that in property at the mercy, okay, of government. And I will be explaining this in subsequent video. So I'll be explaining this in subsequent videos so that you can have a thorough understanding of how you should play smartly if you're buying untitled. So untitled properties, because of the fact that it is very, very problematic, more importantly in Lagos, if you must buy, don't buy the ones you can perfect the title. Because if you start looking at the conditions now that government is setting to get a C of O, you will be forced to dodge government. So high risk investment destination. Number 2, untitled property becomes harmful the moment you are not ready to pay and do your documentation. So my advice, if it is Lagos and its environs, stay away from it. I hope I've been able to drive my points. If you must buy, if you can afford to do your title documentation, you can follow up on your register survey, you file for C of O or you file for allocation, depending on the kind of paper that is given for the location you are buying. Because what you get, the title documentation you also get on the untitled properties is dependent on the scheme or the government plan that is in that location. There are some areas that you will buy after your register survey, you file for C of O. There are some that government will say, this place is a scheme. Okay, we have acquired it, has become a scheme. In that scenario, you have to file for a government allocation. And there are some basically that you just apply for consent. So what determines the document or the papers you process on your untitled properties is solely dependent on the plan that government have. So high risk investment destination you should avoid in Lagos are properties that are untitled, because you see the stress, God, the stress of doing documents in Lagos, hey, In Ogun State, it's easy. It's easy. It's easy. In fact, if you can afford to just get some things done, less than 1 million, you will get your C of O. Simple. It's as simple as that. So I need to quickly state that. So high risk number 2 is locations or real estate investment destinations with no title. It is very risky. Now, the reason why I'm going to say this basically was, if you must buy excision. Now, I got a colleague of mine called me. A lot of them usually watch this my live videos. A lot of them have made their own contributions, and I really, really appreciate for the fact that we are sharing knowledge, we are sharing, experiences, we are learning from each other. And the man called my attention to the fact that excision in some places in Ibejuleki is not risky. And when he began to explain some things to me, and I realized that he's right. He's right. Now, areas where excision becomes dangerous in Ibejuleki is areas where government interest is. Now, that does not mean that government interest is not anywhere, but when we talk about government interest, it's not in the equal magnitude. There are some areas whereby government interest is like 80%. There are areas whereby government interest is like 50 or 20 or 10%. So we need to talk about that. So in the places whereby you hear that they want to do airport and somebody is taking you there to go and buy excision, tell the person waka. In areas whereby you are seeing that they are doing road, sure you understand, and then I say I have one land excision. Now, if you can buy the excision, if you can start processing your allocation, if you have the resources, I've always said it, untitled property is not bad. It only becomes dangerous when you, the buyer, is not ready to do the needful to claim the land. So I'm going to be having a session where I'll be explaining property documentation. Now, from what has been obvious so far, I have come to realize that many people don't even understand that there are some different titles have different meanings. So I've come to realize that when we have meaningful interactive sessions like this, we begin to rapport, and we begin to learn and know what each people think or what they know. And basically, I'm this kind of person that if I don't know something, I'll probably tell you, I don't know this, and we will learn. So there are some places in Ibejuleki that you should not buy excision. That's it. And there are some places that if you buy excision in Ibejuleki or that part of Lagos, it's a good deal. The most important thing is that try to find out if government interest is not there. Now, destination number 3, that is a high risk investment for real estate investors, is along that coastal route. Destination number 3, important real estate destination that every real estate investor should avoid, is that Lagos Calabar coastal road. Now, the reason why it is a high risk investment destination is that I am going to give a simple scenario of what has transpired in the Okunaja axis, the Songotedo axis, the Victoria Island axis, down to the Ondo part where that coastal road is. Now, for some of us that have been very, very conversant, it is very good that if you want to do anything in Lagos, Nigeria, it is very important that you are familiar with some of. See, the best gift you can have right now is an investment advisors like us. See, basically, most of my colleagues have personally messaged me, and they have said, Adijare, so you don't want to drive the best cars. You don't want to drive. You are telling people the truth. You know how people don't like to hear the truth. Let us tell them what they want to hear. Let us make money off them. After all, we are all in this struggle together. Yes. So I'm just trying to let you know how terrible some human beings can be when it comes to the issue of money. So there's really nothing to hide. Now, when they started that Lagos Calabar Coastal Road, of course, we all know it has been on the pipeline for a very long time. His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, in the person of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, has actually conveyed that coastal road since his second term as governor of Lagos State. He would have done that coastal road if the former president, the person of General Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, released that fund. So that coastal road has always been on the pipeline. So right from the onset, I knew there was going to be a coastal road. And common sense. Now, there are some things that common sense will tell you, and there are some things that information will help that common sense guide you to what you should do. So we knew there was going to be a coastal road. So the only thing was that it was not now that obvious. We know it could be maybe on the right or on the left. We shall know there was going to be a coastal road. So from there, now when that coastal road commenced, the moment the landmark beach resort was demolished, I knew government would not spare anybody on that axis. I knew it. I knew it that anybody that is perpetuating or showing you properties along that coastal road is just wants to waste your resources. I knew. Now, immediately after that coastal road, there was this case of these wind homes. For some of you who may not be aware, there was an estate that consists of diaspora Nigerians, okay, that built along that place. And because of the fact that the alignment was changed, that property was affected. Every effort, okay, to save that property went soured. And of course, the property, you know the story, was also demolished. And after that Okwaja, there was a property that was built from our investigation. We found out that that man is a retiree in his 60s. And he built that house to serve as a retirement plan. It is immediately after that, if you drive towards that monastery and drive towards that coastal road axis. I was there. Nobody told me. I was there when the officials came to mark that house. And that house is also affected by the coastal road. Now, and whether you like it, whether I pray maybe there might be a miracle, for from all indications, that house is also, whether it has gone, I don't know, but it was marked as another place. And investing very close to projects like that is a high risk investment. Now, there was a particular time I tagged it as let's say 40% risk. There was a time I said it was 50-50. 50%, it may be affected, it may not be affected. But now, according to information that we have at our disposal, any investment along that area is a high risk. 80% high risk. Because the first thing that happened basically was that the Lagos state government, after the president and the minister said they were going to measure some setback, they are going to make sure that the gazetted setback becomes official. It will be made available to the public. Whether it is made available to the public or not, I honestly do not know. But with the series of demolitions that happened, landmark, wind homes, several other properties along the Okwaja axis, including to the ones the man built, okay, in the Shongotedo axis, they've made a lot of them. So, in other words, a lot of sacrifices have been made. And government would not definitely want to do it in such a way that they left some people and they permitted some people. It will not happen. And me, I don't have, if you say today with everything I have said, that you still say the coastal road is your own choice because you want to buy property. Everybody can attest to the fact that I am publicly warning investors to, for now, I'm not saying forever, for now, let us see what these people want to do. Now, if you now say you're not pitching your investment there, now one of the ways you will know is that immediately after that announcement that was made by the president and the Minister of Works that they're going to be taking some setback, the following week, a circular came from Alausa that they are suspending every approval for projects along that coastal road. That see, a lot of people used to say, government does not used to inform people. They like doing things. They have informed though. So that means if you have bought property there and you want to build your house and you go there to allow for building approval, if anybody give you approval, because it's because you see, this our Nigeria, a lot of things are very, very funny. Anybody that gives you approval has duped you. According, so they made it public. Now, the risk now is from VI down to Eleko. That is the first 47 kilometer of the road. Now, they are now clear tendency that they will be extending it to other parts of Ibejuleki, to the old Diomi part. Now, if you are a real estate investors, pardon my English, I say investors. Now, if you are a real estate investor and your interest is to buy, please don't buy plenty. Because you see, after they finish that coastal road and government have taken what they need to take, that place is still going to blow up in the future. Trust me, it's going to be worth billions. But I would say, if you were to be me, it's my own opinion. It is subject to your own approval or your own concept. But I would say, basically, let me buy the ones that if anything happens, I will not suffer the financial consequence of making such investment decision. So buy the ones that you know that if anything happens in the future, do you understand? It will not pain you. So if you have bought, do not push for allocation very quickly. Let them, once the government make public, once they have made it obvious the areas they are taking for setback, the other areas cannot be acquired. Now, because of the fact that they have not specified where the setback will be, to the right, to the left, some said 120 meters, some said 300 meters, others said 700 meters. I don't know. If you are going there to invest in that axis, shall know that your investment is what? High risk. And it's one of the high risk investment destinations in Lagos. That is number 3. I hope you are noting all these things down. If you have missed it, don't worry. There's going to be a replay of this particular video. I'm going to be leaving it on my channel, and I'll be coming subsequently, okay, to explain more. So the Eleko, the Odiomi, shall make sure that government mark their setback. The areas after the setback will now become where you can buy and use. By that time, they might have probably lifted the suspension on approvals. That is destination number 3. I'm going to be doing 4 today because I'm going to open my lines for. Please take those children outside. Where is? So I'm going to go into destination number 4. Now, the next high risk investment zone in Lagos that every real estate investors must know is in that place where the 4th mainland bridge will be constructed. So if you are buying properties in Lagos, dear diasporan, ensure that your property is not being bought in a place where we're going to be having the proposed 4th mainland bridge. Now, we all know that the bridge may not be coming anytime soon, though they've been deliberate efforts by the Lagos state government to start the construction of the bridge, which is, so we don't know where. But any investment along those corridors, if you situate your real estate investment, there is high risk. Now, the risk basically is that once they start marking the right of way, you may be affected. Now, a lot of people sold a lot of distress sales in some parts of the Ado Ajah, Paduri axis. Now, let me tell you what some people are doing intelligently that most people are not aware of. And I'm going to be as simple as possible. The first thing basically is that the Nigerian real estate sector is largely controlled by private individuals. So the real estate industry is a privately controlled industry, and the consequences for this is that there are minimal regulations. That means there are a lot of things can happen and they can get away with it. There are several real estate development companies that have sold property to people and they have left the country, and people's investment is hanging in uncertainty. And we have to call your attention to this so that you can be fully aware of the way these things are. So if you are buying, ensure that your surveyor vets the property if it is not along weather fault. Now, they've not started the construction of the fault. See, when people will start making noise is when government will start making enforcement. Right now, everything seems cool. A lot of people are not worried. A lot of people are not concerned. Life is still going back as normal. But there's going to be, it's in the plan. And as long as it's in the plan, it doesn't matter how long it takes, it will happen. So we have to start, saying these things so that you can have an understanding that when government will start enforcing, nothing you say or do on social media will change the plan. So any investment is along that proposed 40 billion bridge is a bad one. More importantly, it is on the right of way. Then the last one basically is the one that will fall inside the right of way, that's where the train will be passing through. At the beginning of this year, we got a circular that there's going to be, whether it is electric train, whether it is manual train, whatever train, I shall know that there's a train that will be coming all the way from CMS. For some of us that are still familiar with the Lagos axis, the train is coming all the way from CMS and it's passing across Lekki Phase 1, Ajah, Abramadesoya, down to Ekpe. So areas that will be affected. Right of way, properties that are on right of way in Shangotedo, Awoyaya, Babadisa, Eleko, Ekpe, down till they get to Ekpe. Any property, any real estate investment that is inside this right of way is the highest risk. Don't let me use the word high. Let me use that observation. Is the highest risk real estate investment, because you see, by the time now, I was shocked. I was driving past that I think a few weeks ago, I was driving past along that Lekki Epe Expressway. Yes, I passed that Lekki Epe Expressway, and surprisingly, Lagos State government have started marking the right of way. So, of all the places I drove past, the one that appears, please, when I make points, I always try to be as simple, as plain as possible. Now, the setback for this train right now has not been stipulated by government. They have not said, okay, this is the properties that will go, this is the property that will be affected, this is the property that will be spared. But of all the places I have seen, for some of us that are familiar with that Shangotedo, right, the Shangotedo axis, I would say that some properties that may not fall inside the right of way are, Diamond Estates. I think the engineers have intelligently left the setback. For some of us that are familiar with that ShopRite, Shangotedo, those ones have observed. So I want to believe that before those people started construction, they are aware that there's a train. So those ones left setback. Now, whether government will take all the setback or they will take minimal is yet to be seen. However, my point here basically is that any investment that is along those axes is a high risk investment, because the situation here now is similar to the coastal road, because you see, government is yet to ascertain whether the setback is going to be on the right, whether it's going to be 100 meters, 90 meters, though we were told 96 meters by the right, 35 meters after the pipeline. Of course, it's not official yet. These are just things that our engineers have told us that they cannot take care of. But of course, when the construction starts, we all will see. But what I can tell you basically that me I have seen is that they started marking the walls. So anytime I'm driving past, I will try as much as possible to capture it. And when I'm making my next video, I will let you see it. So they've started the enforcement. And of course, the circular came out at the beginning of this year that there was going to be a project of that magnitude. So my conclusion basically, I know you have your realtors, you have your real estate professionals you are working with, but there are some transactions that you need able hands to help you do, and this is where we come in. This is where we come in. So basically, see, I have some real estate investors. They have realtors they are working with. Oh. Yes, they have. Before they met us, before we started interacting, before we got to know each other, they have realtors, but they will say, Adejare, there are some places that if I want to buy it now, you are go call. Now, the reason why they are saying that basically is because they know we know what is going on. See, it is very, very pitiable for you to buy real estate in Nigeria with sentiment. So you know people who knows what they are doing. People who will dig into the fact. You know, relating some of these informations to you guys is also a clear indicator that this person knows what he's saying. I know it. Before that coastal road or this one, I knew there was going to be something like that, because we always have first time. So the point basically is, work with people that have this information and will help you check before you buy. So that is the most important thing I'll be saying on today's live session. Initially, I did not intend for this live session to be long. Of course, we've spent almost an hour now. Of course, the reason why it went this long was because many of you did not join on time. Because we have a lot of people joining now. Thank you very much in case you're joining this. So I'm going to be sharing some real estate investment opportunities. Of course, I'll be dropping the videos also on this channel. This is why you have to subscribe. This is why you have to, if you're on Facebook, this is why you have to follow us. If you're on YouTube, this is why you have to subscribe. This is why you have to follow us. So there are a lot of real estate investments that is good, that is not on the coastal road, that is not on the right of way, that is not on the train, that is not on Fort Midland Bridge. I'll be dropping that in the channel, and in case you are interested, you can reach out to us. If you want the paper documentation, of course they are available. We'll make it available. So if your lawyer or any other person wants to check, of course, now confirm with yourself. So these are just basically, so I have several in Abramadesoya, I have in Lekki Scheme 2, we have properties there, we have properties in Abijo GRE, majorly off plan. We have short lets also on the Lagos mainland. We have in Antoni, we have in Surulere, we have, for one is coming up in Ikeja very soon, 1 and 2 bedroom apartments is coming up very soon. So the developer, and of course our lawyer, was going to check and confirm the authenticity before we make it public. So we have good real estate investment that you can involve and you can be glad, and of course choose, because you see, in spite of all of these things that is happening, I can still boldly tell you that Lagos is the best. Now imagine the train, imagine the coastal road, imagine the airport. Trust me, this place is going to become one of the best real estate investment destination. And because of the fact that we care, that is why we bring informations like this to you, so that you can be aware. And when you're making investment decisions, you will make the ones that will turn out to be regrettable. You know, that is why we have made this, constant effort. So I'm going to be attending to some questions that I got. In case you have questions, you can drop it in the question section. Bricks to Billions, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. I didn't expect you to be part of this. So let's quickly answer some of the questions. And I don't intend to keep this live session on. So this is why you have to, this is why you have to be on this channel. You have to be, if you're on my Facebook, this is why you have to follow me on Facebook. Yeah. And if you're on YouTube, this is why, because informations like this and more, okay? So I'll be talking about other real estate investment destinations in subsequent video, but there's a lot of um um informations that will come in, a lot of educative and exciting videos. And of course, I sell real estate too. Okay, I sell properties, whether you are buying in Lagos, mention the place Lekki, Shangotedo, Aja, Eleko International Airport axis. If you want in the Berekodo, mention the locations. You want to buy in Lekki, you want to buy in Yaba, you want to buy in Surulere, you want to buy in every. Of course, I'll be dropping property details. And of course, support us by patronizing us. You know, you can buy real estate, anyone you want to buy from us, and you want, of course, you want a good payment plan, we can also make that equally available. Okay, so I appreciate this, and I can't wait for your patronage. Thank you very much. So I'll take questions. So it says, what are the 3 important things that I will know if my property is on the right of way? Okay, the first thing basically you know if your property is on the right of way is that government will suspend documentation for that place. Yes, it will. More importantly, if the property does not have documents, one of the things you will know is that um you will understand that even the developer that have sold to you, okay, will pause development on that place. Yes, they will not. Okay, this is quite okay. So I'm going to leave the video on my channel. It will be available maybe as from 2 or 3 hours from today. You can always rewatch. Sorry about that. I think the next live session we're going to make it longer than it is. I'm going to do the video. Thank you very much. So there will be no constructive documents to show. So if you want to build, you will notice that your approval is being delayed unnecessarily. So basically, these are the simple indicator for you to know that no, this what you have bought is property facing on the right of way. And another thing you would also notice basically is that developer will also suspend meaningful development work on site. Yes, except if that developer does not have a conscience. I've seen instances of people, okay, who are doing this. So someone said, about the property that is being advertised to us have C of O and already bought into them. So what do you mean? I'm not saying. Okay, let me quickly explain this. Jọba mi pomode ko mu power bank wa. Ko mu cord wa. All right, now let me quickly say this. I am not saying that the C of O property will be taken. Please let me explain some things to you. Dear real estate investors, I am not saying government is going to take your property. What I'm saying basically is that before you start working or spending money on your site, let them finish with their land or setback. Let government say, okay, this is where you can start work from before you start construction. That's it. My iPhone charger. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So I'm not saying they will collect your property. No, not at all. These are just some of the things you need to know. So in some cases now, if such properties now fall on the right of way, well, constitutionally, the federal government has the right to revoke the title. And of course, because of the fact there is a title, you will be compensated. Just give me the code. You will be compensated. And once you are compensated, the developer obviously will actually do the needful, of course. So basically, I'm not saying they will take everything, but once the property falls on the right of way, it becomes a threat to public interest. And of course, anything that is under public interest, you know what happens, government may decided to take it. So I hope that has answered the question in case you are not clear. So I'm going to take few questions. I've spent an hour already, and I don't want my live session to be too long. I think what I'm going to be doing in a live session is I'll be paying attention to the time, because most people are just joining towards the end of this live session, but I still appreciate you. Thank you very, very much. So I want you to keep tab to this channel if you're on YouTube, and keep tab to this page if you're on Facebook. And there's a lot that we're going to be doing together. A lot of information will be coming your way, and I can assure you that you'll be glad that you are working with us. So I'm going to be drawing today's curtain of this live session. I will try to be here tomorrow. If I'm not going to be here tomorrow, I'm going to be dropping a notification to that effect. I'm going to be here tomorrow. So in case you want to do any form of real estate investment, I have apartments, verified properties in Abramadesoya. I have in General Paint. We also have projects in the Lekki scheme, two and three bedroom apartments. We have terraces and duplexes with good payment plan. We also have properties in Abijo GRA off plan and of course already built. We also have in our then for the Bejuleki axis, we have a lot of goods. In fact, for as well as 9 million, you can get in half plots, a sea of half plot along the Lekki International Airport, and of course for 15 million with a 1-year payment plan, you can also get in the Lekki International Airport and also the Bejuleki axis. You know, the Bejuleki axis is obviously one of the hottest investment. Of course, if you're interested in the Lagos mainland, we have projects in Yaba that is almost completed. We also have in the Unilag axis. For some of us that are familiar with University of Lagos, we have projects also in the Unilag axis. We also have in Surulere. We have multiple in Surulere, and we have one which is the Brooks End in Anthony, Maryland. Of course, you'll be getting a video on it maximum tomorrow, of course. So I'll be keeping you, updated on some of our projects, and that you can, of course, they come with flexible payment plan. We have up to 1-year payment plan. We have 6 months with 1 year, and we'll be keeping you on. So I want to quickly say a very big thank you to everybody that have joined this live session. I truly appreciate you. Thank you very much. So tomorrow we'll be getting to see some of our recorded videos. So I want to say a very big thank you. If I've not responded to your questions, I apologize. We'll do that next time. So if I'm going to be online, if I'm going to be having a live session tomorrow, you can rest assured that you get a notification by 12 noon by tomorrow by God's grace. Thank you. See you.